Okay, hey everyone. So this is part 2, double checking. Yes, I am enlisted right now. So which means you are catching this on the replay because I'm hoping, much like I lucked out with the first one, I'm going to get it all right in one take and I won't have to upload if it's already uploaded through live stream, though I'm listed. My camera is also off because I'm getting ready for the day at fucking 3 something p.m. Sure. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm vain, in case you don't know. So I will not appear on camera until my makeup is done. Hair I can live with, but makeup I need done. That being said, I am commentating in this part. This is part 2 of a live stream. And this is the live stream. It is from the nonsense page, which really perfect title for the channel, I should say. And the video is timeline with the Teslas part 1. And I stated this in the beginning of my first one, or part 1. I find it very, very distracting, telling yet distracting, how these 3 people want to commentate on all these other people and on family members of someone laying in a coma. They want to pass judgment and make all these claims about them, but yet all the 3 of these people can't put their identities behind their words. They can't put their images behind their words. They can't put their names behind their words. They all known as Tessas or whatever. Cunt Tessa, fuck Tessa, whatever, which is kind of mocking if you ask me. And really just a poor time for such a mockery. And it's really poor to mock such things with the actions in which you are conducting here, in my opinion. I realize that's just my opinion. But that being said, if you don't have the conviction to stand behind such bullshit claims about people and to do such important work as they want to believe they're doing, if you don't have the conviction to put your own self behind it, then why the fuck should anyone else? Why should anyone else hold these same beliefs with any kind of conviction if you can't be bothered to do so?
Get out of the way.
We have what's known as an in the way dog. So, and they can say whatever they want about Molly, about me, about whoever else. I don't really care. At least one thing you can't say about any of us, though, is that we at least put ourselves behind ourselves, I guess. I don't know. All right, I'm going to get back to the stream. I'm starting at right around the 1 hour mark. I'm trying to break this up in as many parts as I have to because I don't want one stream to be that long. But the first stream I did go over quite a bit. I'm going to try not to do that with this one.
At this point in time, everything's kind of a jumbled date.
I think there's enough of that, so we don't need any additional.
We're trying to break it down.
Hold on.
We do have text messages though that are posted on Facebook that show.
Oh, it is July 4th.
It's July 4th that she posted that?
Yep.
Okay.
So and the post says, "Hello, I really need you all help/support. I need anyone in or near Tucson to contact me." And she posts a picture of the hospital and it says that it is 5 miles away.
Okay. So July 4th is when that's first posted. So yeah, I have a lot of emotions about that.
So at that point, again, now on July 4th, it's put out there that, and again, people speculate a lot of things. So now this hospital is put out there. It is speculated that this is where Vaughn is located. People begin to talk about going to protest in front of the hospital. And that was put out by Letitia.
And they're talking in the admin group about Letitia being in Arizona, and she wasn't making that public knowledge because she didn't want there to be issues. You can, again, read all of these posts, but she was telling the admins as she was, during this time frame, that she was in Tucson to visit Marvon and being turned around.
I am curious if you guys know, I can't imagine that, a TBI, that type of brain injury to me would mean that there is a select amount of hospitals in one area that you could go to get care for that type of injury, right? It's not like it's going to be, your normal run-of-the-mill hospitals. It's going to have to be somewhere that has those specialties, right?
Correct.
So when you hear them, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, finish.
So when you hear them saying, there's no way for us to figure it out, she's hiding him from us, I think I just struggle with that because I don't understand how it would.
I mean here's clear proof.
Wow. Really? There may not be many facilities which can properly care for someone who needs such intensive, like long-term rehabilitation services. I use the word rehabilitation, but it's not rehab. Let's be honest, like, because he's not going to improve. But that's the kind of facility, long-term rehab type of facility, is what he's going to require. So sure, there may not be a lot of area or a lot of places like that, but like where I live, and it's nowhere near like a city like Tucson, that where I live, but there's several here and where I live. I live in a small city in upstate New York, not Syracuse, not Albany, nowhere near, no city like that. It's a small fucking city. And there's several places here that could do it. Probably only one of the hospitals here, but several facilities, and that's just in the city. So it's reasonable to understand that there would be more than one place in which to choose from in the area. They don't, I mean, do they know for a fact that he was in Tucson? Like this facility was inside Tucson, or was it in the Tucson area? That's gonna have an effect on the numbers too. And regardless, if no one's telling them, then they can't be sure unless they go there. Because no one's going to give information out over the phone. In fact, I believe that she went there and like they weren't even giving her information in person. So, I mean, it just seems like a very judgmental and entitled place to sit back here after all the fact and give her shit for how she handled something at that time, and to assume what her knowledge was at that time. I mean, who the fuck are you? Seriously, who the fuck are you? And this stands to reason with me too. Who the fuck am I? But why is this even being discussed in a 2-hour live stream? And this is only part one for you guys. I mean, you guys are so fucking hell-bent on destroying everything about this woman, about what she's going through, making her pay for going through what she's going through. This is like, I want to start fucking crying right now. I'm just so disgusting behavior to see from grown-ass fucking women.
You knew the law because Marvon Sr. had shared that. You knew you weren't blocked from it. You knew you didn't have a restraining order because even she has stated the restraining order, according to her, expired on June 30th. And this is now July 4th weekend that you're there. Why didn't you go and see him?
Yeah.
I just want to add that every facility that they have stated Vaughn was supposedly at, I have researched, and they all fall under the federal mandate for visitation. So the hospital, long-term care facilities, specialty facilities would not have turned anyone away from visiting.
And that's a hard thing too, because so she's telling people on these dates that she's in Arizona, right? We know that her and Dre had communicated before. We know that the communication was going well up until that.
I just got distracted on what I was going to say because of something here. God damn it.
Point, her and Dre, so
These specialty facilities would not have turned anyone away from visiting.
and that's a hard thing too, because
Wow, you see, this is not common knowledge, I don't think. I mean, this is the first time I've learned anything like that. I mean, for granted, I haven't had a reason to inquire either. So unless you have a reason to inquire, there's really no reason to know this. That's great, though, that these facilities, have to abide by such guidelines, I guess. But you expect Letitia to know this? I mean, and plus, I don't know. Like, that's not a good way to go about. I mean, sure, if that's your only way to go about seeing your child, then sure, yeah, you fucking do it. But if it's more ideal to have the support of everyone, of you going to see your child, than to go against their wishes, because especially when that person determining this, having these wishes or not, is the loved one's actual next of kin, legal next of kin. I mean, it's not going to set up well if you go against their wishes to see the loved one. I mean, I don't know. I don't blame her for wanting to do things in the right way, especially since this was looking like it's going to be a long-term situation. So I mean, if Marwan was not expected to make it the weekend, then yeah, whatever, who cares? You go against the wife's wishes. I don't give a shit. But that wasn't the case. I mean, he was looking like he was going to be there for months, years, possibly. I don't know. Whatever they all decide, I guess, maybe. But yeah, you kind of want to just, you want everyone to be on the same page, I think. I would anyway. So I kind of can't blame her if that's the case. But it's also my understanding that didn't people have to sneak in or something after Dre left to see Marwan? I don't remember if that was Letitia or if it was Marwan Sr. I'm not quite sure, but I remember reading that because Andrea didn't want them there, but they couldn't legally stop them. And I believe that was when he was at the VA hospital, though, wherever that was.
So she's telling people on these dates that she's in Arizona, right? We know that her and Dre had communicated before. We know that the communication was going well up until that point. We know that she was upset with Dre because Dre said.
See, here's the thing. No, then you may know that now, but nobody fucking knew that then. So you can't now look back on this with hindsight and everything, having perfect vision, and then faulting everyone for having skewed vision. When back then, at the time, everything was skewed. Everyone's vision was skewed. You can't do that. The fact that you're doing that is manipulative and it's exploitative. And it's just flat up dishonest.
We have to limit visitors due to precautions. But then here she is on, the 3rd through the 6th, claiming to the admins that she is in Arizona. She's going to the courthouses. She went to the ethics committee, that Dre had this order on her. She's been denied, that she went to the hospital to visit him, was turned around, and then she called the facility and recorded the call of them basically confirming that, yes, he was there, but they couldn't tell her anything. Again, this isn't made public until after the fact, but these are things that are being, we know now, we're being told. You can read these messages yourself. So she's doing all this work, telling people that she's doing all this stuff. But
who's to say she wasn't doing these things? I mean, I don't know. You say people can read these messages themselves. Where? Because I thought that the group was like taken down or archived or some shit, or just whatever, wasn't available anymore. But why can't you just show these things yourselves? You're the one making the claims here. You're claiming that this is what was said. Why the fuck can't you just show this? Come with one single receipt in this goddamn stream. It's not my fucking job to prove your fucking claims. I mean, prove us wrong. Make us look like idiots. Make us put our foot in our mouths. Show it. I mean, why the fuck aren't you?
Can't prove that she was actually doing all of this stuff to see him in any way, shape, or form.
Can we discuss that phone call to the facility?
Yeah, we can, because that brings us right into the date. That was actually taken on, well, it was posted after the fact, after it was sent to creators that got involved. The bigger YouTube creators, Without a Crystal Ball, was actually who posted the video first, and it's still up on her page if you want to see that. It's also in some of my videos, but yes, please.
Just trying to stick with the timeline. On July 6th is where Molly Golightly and Justice for All, and at that point Crystal Ball, although not together, but they both get involved in the situation. Yep. At that point. And you can check their first videos out. Their first videos are completely speculative, very sensational, not fact-based, but they are just flying off at the hinges at that point in time. And, people start calling people murderers, and I know she did this. And I mean, just all of it just.
I partially agree with that. Like, yeah, I agree that that's what happened. Absolutely. And should channels, when calling someone murderer or whatever, or accusing someone of murder, should they be a little bit more responsible about that? Fuck yeah, they should. Every person should, I think, channel or no channel. I mean, these are YouTube content creators, though. Did you really have any higher expectations than that? This isn't like actual like investigative journalists. No matter how badly one of them wants to refer to themselves as that, they're not. So, I mean, it doesn't make it right. No, it doesn't. I can agree with that. I guess that's at the time, that's what I expected. Especially with a commentary channel, that's the whole point. They're commentating, they're giving an opinion, they're assessing, they're giving their assessment. This isn't a large amount of the time. It's not based in actual fact. That's why people say, in my opinion, or I'm speculating, or it's just a hunch or a theory, whatever. They're not stating anything as fact. And, and they have every right to talk about what they want to talk about, so long as they do it responsibly. And they can give a fucked up opinion so long as they state it as such. Sure, bitch about it, I guess, but they're not doing anything wrong. And maybe you think it's wrong. I'm sure others will think it's wrong. But again, this is the kind of wrong that's more speculative than it is like definitive. Because so long as they state their opinion, they're not going against the law or even terms of service.
Skyrockets from there into all bad. Okay. Now take it to your date.
That video is shared Without a Crystal Ball by Letitia. Letitia sends that video, and I'm going to let Blantessa talk about the video because it is, there's a lot.
So essentially it is Letitia calling the facility to ask if Vaughn is there, and it's established that he's there, but the wording that is used, I'm very conflicted with it, because when I listen to it, I hear her asking for medical information, and she is told, you will have to speak with the wife. I cannot give you that information. Then she states something along the lines of, even if I visit, and he says yes. So my interpretation of that is that he's thinking she's asking if she can get medical information if she's there, if she's in person visiting. I don't know. What do you all think? What do you think about the wording?
That's how I interpreted it as well. Okay.
In that video.
I'm actually pulling the video up right now so I can play it right quick. Hold on, just give me a second.
Are we going to be able to hear it?
What you think? Okay.
Maybe if I can get myself connected. There we go. Sorry.
Oh,
My interpretation was the same. I heard the same. Where they wanted to make that about visitation, I understood it to be, if you are physically here in the building and you ask for a medical update, you still are going to be told you have to ask for his wife and get that from his wife.
Okay.
I'll play
that was my interpretation as well, but I know that definitely was left up to interpretation. I also think that was intentionally left up to interpretation, but that's just my opinion of it.
I'll play it right quick. Hopefully you guys can hear it. It's
Hey Brian, how you doing? My name is Letitia Bias, and I was wondering, do you have my son at your hospital? His name is Marvon McCray.
What was the last name?
McCray, MCCRAY.
And what relation are you?
I'm his mother.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to give out any information on him.
At all, even because I came to two.
The way the guy says that, I interpret that to mean is, unfortunately, we're not able to give out any information on him. Like, this isn't something that's standard. It doesn't apply to all patients, but on this specific case, we can't give out any information. That's how I hear it. And I'm interpreting this not from Letitia, but from the person speaking from the hospital.
Son to see him.
At all. You got to talk to his wife.
Okay. And there's no way, like, anyone else I can maybe speak to?
Nope, she is the only one that we're allowed to give information to.
Even with me visiting him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Nope.
Right.
and that.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I interpret it as well. Although the way he said it with him, I do interpret that to be a specific situation that applies to him as opposed to everyone in the hospital, maybe.
That's all that was. That was posted on July 7th on Without a Crystal Ball's channel.
That caused, I don't know, I have
So
many
I think
questions.
the hard part for me is, so he starts off and she says, "Can you tell me if he's there?" Right? And so he says, "Well, you'll have to speak to his wife about that." Okay, well, can I get a medical update on him? You're going to have to talk to his wife about that. Okay, well, what if I visit? You're going to have to talk to his wife about that. Like, to me, it feels like that is like, hey, you need to go talk to his wife about all of this stuff at this point.
Well, no offense there, Tessa Squared, you're an idiot. I mean, it's clear she clearly wants to know if he's there. The dude looks at, which I mean, the dude's kind of an idiot there working there. I mean, he kind of confirmed that Marvin is there the second he said you're going to have to talk to his wife. I mean, why, if he wasn't in the hospital, why the fuck would they know anything about his wife? He did confirm he was there. It was kind of stupid, I think, on his part. So it's, and I mean, you even hear Letitia, the way she speaks afterwards is that she's concluding that he's there, right? Because she's asking about an update and shit. So she's already accepted the fact that he's probably there. Obviously, that was revealed that he was there. Now, moving on to the update, she asked for a medical update. Medical update. You're going to have to talk to his wife. Unfortunately, we're only allowed to give that information to the wife. Well, what if I visit? Again, you're going to talk to. She didn't say, well, what if I come visit? Can I see him? She said, well, what if I come visit? Can I then get an update? What if I do it, ask in person? That's how it's being interpreted. That's how it's being displayed. I mean, if you're interpreting something else, maybe it's because you want it to be something else. Maybe it's because you're looking through your bias. I don't know. No, I do know. That's probably it.
I don't think that is for me, that's not a decline. No, don't come here and don't visit. I still don't understand why you wouldn't show up at the door with, and I know that there is a live. I don't know the date of it. Maybe you will contest it, but there is a live where Justin and Molly talk about printing out the law and sending that with her so that she can show them when she shows up. There is no way that they can decline her. And they were going to send, it's actually the phone call where Trail is interviewed, her brother. But like, it's very clear that she's going to show up with these papers. By golly, she's going to see him. So that phone call, again, in my opinion, is just to push the same narrative of I can't see him because she won't let me.
Okay, here's where I'm probably going to piss some people off. Because that just, I don't know, that just seems like kind of an entitled thing to say. Like, I mean, I get it. I can't really speculate what it's like to be Black, and I'm not trying to do that, but I'm trying to point out to other white people they can't either. So, it's already been public knowledge made that Letitia's had her run-ins with the law, mostly as a teenager. I think her last infraction was like in 1994 or something, right? But still, and she's been locked up somewhere for some reason. I don't know the specifics of it. I don't really care. So, but she's had these experiences, okay? And she is a Black woman growing up in Georgia, okay, who's had run-ins with the law, who's gone to jail, who's had a child taken from her, or whether she agreed to it or not. I have thought that there's some manipulation, and I'm not saying it was wrong to manipulate. I think if there was, it was probably done with the interest of the child. So I'm not judging that. But like it or not, she probably looks back on it and sees this as some sort of manipulation, and the courts probably participated in it. So she may be feeling like she doesn't want to go rocking the boat and calling attention to herself to end up in law enforcement or the laws, whatever, purview. Okay? But nobody wants to call that, and no one wants to consider that. I mean, Christ, without a crystal ball, there even sat there and said in a live stream how she thinks that Letitia threatened to kill her or something because she stated how she has a gun and she's going to take it with her as she drives through the states for protection if need be. But, of course, Katie Joy takes that as a personal threat that someone's going to drive up to fucking Minnesota. Like, come on. So here, this is her experience now with some of these YouTubers. She's every time Without a Crystal Ball spoke of Letitia or spoke about this in the first week, she bragged. She constantly bragged. Every single time she had an interaction with Letitia, it was made known in a video or live stream by Without a Crystal Ball as a bragging right or something. It's no other way to describe it. That's how it came across. And then when Katie Joy realized she wasn't going to get the upper hand on this story, she wasn't going to get to use it the way she fit, that people were going to adhere to Letitia, the people who matter, Katie then turned on those involved, primarily Letitia, which is, I don't care what anyone says, Look back and just see for yourself how things happened. This is exactly why we are all where we are in this very moment, is because Katie Joy felt slighted. Taking all that into consideration, people want to sit there and wonder why he didn't show up on this institution's doorstep, citing law and demanding any kind of legal rights here or whatever. I mean, and then you guys want to sit here and like kind of like fuck or shit for it. I mean, have a little bit of consideration. Think of someone. Think a situation is like someone other than yourself.
It also seems so scripted because typically if you call, they're not just going to go by the name. They're also going to ask the birth date of the patient. I don't know, just the wording, that call just seems so strange to me. But
I also
it is what it is.
I can't understand why you would go there to visit somebody, right? So supposedly she's there and she went to the facility, she met with the ethics committee and was denied through them, but then she
The dude's name ain't John Smith. It's Marvon McRae. The chance of there being another one in hospital at that time, I mean, whatever. And not for nothing, whenever I call the hospital looking for someone or wanting, mostly usually it was like to like be put through to their hospital room, to the through the phone. I didn't give a birthday. If I didn't know the room number, I gave the name.
leaves, right? Because supposedly she recorded this while she was there, is what she told the creator. And she goes back to wherever she's staying, makes this phone call and records it. Why would she record the phone call after she was just denied in person? I mean, I just can't, unless she had the intentions on making it public, which obviously she did after the fact, but I can't rationalize.
Assuming what you said is true, which I really don't fucking know if it is or not. I kind of have questions about it, but assuming it is, I'm guessing that she couldn't really record the conversation in person because people kind of, especially in hospital settings, people kind of, on that, whatever. So then, therefore, she went home and she did it over the phone. What's your point? I mean, and I wonder, did any of you personally reach out to Letitia to ask her any of these questions you have? Did you? Or are you simply asking them now as means or in which you accuse her rather than inquire?
That thought process of how things were like done backwards to fit a story instead of this is how the story actually goes.
Now, the only thing I could think of at this point is that the social media witch hunt was so bad and they were receiving so many calls from so many strangers regarding Vaughn that at that point they just kind of shut it down for the health and safety of staff, the patient, the facility. That is the only reason why I could think of that they would deny or kind of postpone or just, not grant a visitation or more information.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we do know that we see on live, and I don't know the date, and I don't even know if the video is still up at this point. It could be, could not. But there is a video where Molly gets really, really upset because she calls and calls and calls this facility and they will not speak with her. And to the point where one time when she calls, she says, hi, this is, whatever, Marissa or whatever. I'm actually back on a patient. And his name is Marvon. And the lady's like, we can't speak on it. Have a nice day. And she's like, I didn't even tell you the last name. She's like, we can't speak on it. Have a nice day. For the hospital to be reacting in that way, that does tell me that people, I would be very inclined to believe the theory that people are calling nonstop. And she actually gets hung up on and gets livid, calls back, a different lady answers, and that lady says, we cannot give you any information. Have a great day. Please don't call anymore.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't think the video is up anymore either.
So I can understand why it'd be like.
Yeah, I'm not commentating on anything that isn't still accessible in which to verify. I mean, that would imply that I'm taking what they're saying to be truthful and taking them at their word, which that would kind of make me a hypocrite, judge everything said in the beginning. One of these streams, I don't know, about how you shouldn't take anything to be truthful without some sort of verification, with some sort of proof. So,
like the hospital's like, look, go, if you're his mother, we understand why you're calling, but you need to speak with his wife.
Not only was the hospital getting calls at the same time of this, there's another piece that was at the same time. They were also encouraging calls within these groups to be made to CPS in regards to the children. That was also happening at the same time.
And APS.
Yes, Adult Protective
APS
Services.
actually came up twice. It started in the beginning and then back.
Okay, as far as the adult protective services things go, I whatever. I got nothing to say on that. I mean, even people did encourage calling, that did inquire or did it did whatever, create an investigation or whatever. It's adult services. I'm not too concerned about that. But as far as the CPS shit goes, I mean, you can have whatever opinion you want on that. That I don't think was exactly that far-fetched for people to have the desire to call. I mean, think about everything that was being displayed in these videos that Dre herself put out. Doing this house full of this paparazzi jewelry that had been already proven to be full of arsenic and I forget what else. What the hell? It's radium or something, I think it was. I don't remember. It was some radioactive, I think. But yeah, she had a whole house full of this shit. Like, she didn't just have a couple pieces laying around. She had rooms of this. She was one of paparazzi's top distributors. You know, and this is very likely too would contributed to a lot of the seizure issues that her daughter and Moran and even their chickens were experiencing. I mean, it's fucking insane. Anyway, that alone, I think, I don't know. It's crazy. And then you add on to the fact that she's always fucked up on kratom and kava or whatever the tea is that she was using. Like, this was all they did in these videos that she put out. This is even with the ones with Marvan in him. She just fed everyone this shit. She was talking about how she fed her kids sleepy time tea. I mean, these are real reasons for people to be concerned. I mean, if you were a court mandated reporter and you've seen this shit, I think you might have been mandated to fucking report it. So you can have whatever opinion you want on it. You can't sit there and say that people did this as a form of mob mentality and there was no cause for it. I'm going to disagree with that. Maybe mob mentality was a part of it, but that wasn't what caused it.
Again, when Marvon Sr. does a live and talks about how the nurse supposedly told him, which I've never heard of such a thing, but the nurse suggested to him that he contact APS.
Yeah.
I always thought nurses were mandated reporters, and so if she felt like a call needed to be made, she would have, but not according to their story.
No, that sounds right. Like, I mean, yeah, nurses are mandated reporters. If they see a patient being abused by other people in the medical staff or a loved one, sure, they have to report it. But other people don't have to go by their guidelines of whether or not to report. Other people can see an issue and decide that they want to report. They feel a need to report. Maybe what they seen, the nurse didn't see, so therefore there was no mandate for them to report. I mean, you're fine. Really? Come on. Again, you can disagree with the report, but whatever.
And going back, nurse too, we found out after the fact that Marvon Sr. and Wynette, during their visit to Arizona, had made a contact of some sort. Now, it said in text messages she's referred to as a nurse. We don't know exactly her title, but it stated that she's some sort of capacity at the hospital, and she was trying to help them navigate a little bit of this situation after they returned to Georgia because she was still in Arizona. So we do know that was happening some at this point in time too. So what date do we want to stop with this one and pick it up when the big explosion, because we're at July 6th, 7th, and this is when the huge explosion on social media really kicks off. Do you guys want to continue with this one, or do we want to do a part 2 and pick up there?
I'm good either way.
Do you guys have time?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to take that as an invitation to stop this stream and to start the next stream because I'm at like 35 minutes anyway. So, all right, ending part 2.